Art to me is, I think art to me is culture. Art to me is self-expression, and I think just from an indigenous perspective, look at it as medicine. Artists are culture keepers, and that's the main purpose of what we do. Commentary, politically, socially, culturally, on whatever's happening in our communities or in our homes. These are people that are often dismissed, but carry a significant amount of what's needed to be said or done in real time. My name is Gregg Deal. I am a husband and a father, an artist, and a professional disruptor. I think my art sort of works within that ethos to sort of disrupt ideas or areas or thoughts or political issues, what have you. That ends up playing, I think all of those things end up playing a part in the work that I do. I suppose the thing that I'm trying to say, or the expression that I have within my work, is really just sharing my perspective from my experience as an indigenous person, as a human being. Oftentimes my work ends up looking like a social mirror, sort of reflecting back at society. I create my artwork for all the things. It is my job, so it's how I make my living and how I care for my family. I also create art for the sake of art. I create it for myself to feel better. I create it for myself because I feel compelled to do it. I'll create it sometimes to have a message. It's all of those things. It's sort of like taking a shower, where you're like in this mindless state and, you come up with your greatest ideas in the shower. It does allow me to think critically about, like, what does it mean to be an indigenous person? What does it mean to be an indigenous artist? What does it mean to be a father? What does it mean to be a husband? Like, I can look at all of these things because none of them are mutually exclusive. They all inform where I'm at. And to be honest, what I'm creating, I would be creating regardless. I feel compelled to do it. And the result of that is also just trying to navigate what some of those things mean. There's work that I create that I just let loose and just let it be out there. I don't make any money off of it. Work that would be about missing and murdered indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit, an epidemic in our indigenous communities. I don't make money off of those types of pieces because I believe that they just need to be out there. Yeah, I make a living at this. This is what I do for work, but I feel like I'm in a place of privilege where I can sort of dip my toe in social activism, personal work, contemporary art. I get to do all of the things. I already know who I am. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't know who I am. Whether or not my work connects me with my communities, I feel that I'm already connected, which allows me to have the voice that I have within my work. There's some people that are going to hate my work, and then there's some people who are going to love it, and accept both as part of the process of creating work and having it out in the public sphere. I'd like to think that there's definitely some changes taking place in terms of how more frequently we're seeing indigenous people, but those things can always go back to the way they were, so we have to keep pushing no matter what. Not just indigenous people, Black, indigenous, people of color, people on different gender spectrums, and we need to continue to push to allow spaces for those folks as well. I think the greatest challenge for me as an artist, or challenges that I've seen other artists like me sort of face, is based on the power structures that are the art world and the way that the art world assumes that art must be done, what that voice has to look like, who's invited to the table, who's allowed to speak, what is an appropriate medium, and how are those mediums expressed, and how do those mediums navigate the real world. The biggest challenge is being somebody who's indigenous that might not fall in line with the status quo or the expectation of artists, and being able to freely express yourself in spite of that. We're seeing some changes take place in the art world following Black Lives Matter last year, and sort of creating a different set of voices and circumstances. But it's still a challenge. We need to try to keep those things at the forefront. And so that I think is the biggest effort, is remaining consistent, having integrity in your work, and continuing to push forward even if those mediums or those narratives don't fit what people think art should be.